Stop looking at expensive drift builds that cost more than a house down payment, because the BMW E36 is arguably the best dollar for dollar seat time chassis you can buy right now, and I am going to break down exactly why and how to build one. First off, forget the drift tax you see on the Nissan S chassis cars. You can pick up a rough E36 for a fraction of the price, and you are starting with a chassis that is stiffer and more predictable right out of the box. The secret sauce here is the wheelbase and the weight distribution. It is long enough to be stable during high-speed transitions, but short enough to be snappy when you need to make a correction. Now, let us talk engines. You want the 6-cylinder. Whether it is the M50 without vanos or the M52, these iron block engines are absolutely bulletproof. You can bounce them off the rev limiter all day long, and they just ask for more. However, before you even think about hitting the track, you need to address the Achilles heel of this car, which is the cooling system. The factory water pump has a plastic impeller that becomes brittle and shatters, sending plastic shards into your engine block. Replace that immediately with a metal impeller pump, and while you are at it, swap out the plastic thermostat housing for an aluminum one, because that thing will crack if you look at it wrong. Once the engine is safe, we need to talk about the rear end. The E36 loves to rip its own rear subframe mounting points right out of the chassis floor. It sounds scary, but it is a known issue. You need to buy a set of weld and reinforcement plates. Do not skip this. If you put a stiff suspension and a welded diff on this car without reinforcing the subframe, you will tear the metal, and your rear axle will essentially detach from the car. Speaking of differentials, if you are on a budget, take that open differential out, open it up, and weld the spider gears together. A welded diff is the single best upgrade for a budget drift car. It makes the car predictable and easy to slide because both rear wheels are always spinning at the same speed. Just be prepared for some tire chirping when you are parking at the grocery store. Now, let us talk about steering. The stock steering rack on the non-M cars is a bit slow. If you want that snappy response, go to a junkyard and pull a steering rack from AZ3. It is a direct bolt-on swap that acts like a quick ratio rack, making your steering inputs much faster and requiring less hand-over-hand movement. For suspension, do not buy the cheapest eBay coilovers you can find, but you do not need race spec gear either. Get something with adjustable camber plates for the front. You need to dial in a lot of negative camber on the front wheels to keep the tire contact patch flat when you are at full lock sideways. Also, throw in some washers on the inner tie rods. It is a $2 mod that gives you a few extra degrees of steering angle, which can be the difference between holding a drift and spinning out. Let us not forget the interior. Strip it. Take out the rear seats, the carpets, the sound deadening. It is free weight reduction. Every pound you remove makes the car accelerate faster, stop better, and change direction easier. But leave the heater core. You might need it to help cool the engine down on a hot track day by blasting the heat. Another pro tip is the clutch fan. Get rid of it. It is a ticking time bomb that can explode at high RPM and send blades through your hood or radiator. Convert to an electric fan wired to a switch on your dashboard so you have full control over cooling. If you are feeling ambitious, look for an M50 intake manifold to swap onto your M52 engine. The M52, which comes in the 328i and 323i, is choked by a restrictive manifold. The older M50 manifold flows way more air and really wakes the engine up at the top end of the rev range, which is exactly where you will be living while drifting. Finally, tires. Do not go out and buy sticky race tires for the rear. You want cheap, hard compound tires that will last a few laps and break traction easily. You are learning car control, not trying to set a lap time. Go to your local tire shop and ask for their jump pile takeoffs. Burn them up, learn the car, and have a blast. The E36 is not just a car, it is a rite of passage for drifters. It teaches you mechanics, it teaches you car control, and it does it all with a screaming inline-six soundtrack that is pure music to the ears.